I'm going to take my shape here. I can actually zoom in on my right side, my frontal side. I can use the move tool, move it where it needs to be. I'm going to move this shape so it aligns better with where his eye would be. And you actually want to start 3D modeling from the eye. So I'm going to use this control. Let's scale it down. Either hit R or your scale tool. Zoom in here. Use the W key to move. Let's scale it down. W to move, like so. Look at my front view. I want to right about there, right underneath the eye. That's where I want to go. Then use perspective now to only watch and zoom in as needed, okay? You're going to keep it here. You will not, at times when you get more advanced, you can move things around here again, but it's wise, especially when you're doing facial character modeling, just make perspective your window that you only need to review and look at. Top, make sure everything's lined up accordingly on the origin, and you build things in top so everything's built on the plane, on the grid, okay? All right, got my shape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to a polygon. Right click, editable poly. I'm going to open up. I'm going to go to Edge. And here's the greatest part about 3ds Max and character modeling. In Maya and other 3D software, you have to hit a key every time. In 3ds Max, all I do is select the edge, hold the Shift key on my keyboard, and left click and drag from the middle part of the gizmo, and I can actually just build out and start modeling. I'm going to hit E or select my rotate tool, and I can rotate. That's the best way to start 3D modeling, is you want to start at the eye and expand out from the eye. So again, I'm going to hit W, and this is where the hotkeys come into play. So I hit W, E, and remember R is scale. So W and E is going to be your best, your two best tools to use right now. So just hold Shift, start modeling. I'm going to hold it again. Hit E will rotate. Select that edge. Hit W, hold Shift. Start modeling. Hit E. Hold. Hit W, that's move. Hold Shift. Left click and drag and build on another poly. We're going to model based off poly modeling. Now, here's another really great trick to know. Your numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those are your modifiers here. So 1 is vertex under polygon. That will launch and go to my vertices. So then I can left click, drag, and rectangle marquee, or left click directly on the point, then move that point around the shape. 2 is edge. So once I activate 2, it's going to bring up the last edge that was activated. 3 is border. 4 is polygon, so you can just simply hit 4 and go to poly, and then 5, of course, is element. Okay? I don't use borders. I'll just select that edge, rotate, W, hold Shift. And when I'm modeling, make sure that your segments are matching up, even though the eye is going to be here. Make one more. When I get to here, I can go and modify my vertices if needed. You can follow right along with me if you want to build your design concepts the same way. And now I've got this area where I know I can build a quad. You want to make sure you're building quads. Quads mean 4-sided polys. Try to avoid triangles at all times. Now, if you're new to all this, don't worry about it. You'll get better as you progress. So if you can only manage to build based off triangles, that's fine, but you want to try to ignore triangles as much as possible. For game design and just rendering needs, polys render the best, okay, when you get to the rendering part of 3D graphics. I'm going to simply go to polygon, and with polygon selected, remember we're under editable poly, so you want to make sure you're under, this is selected editable poly, then go to polygon, and you're going to move this panel up. I can left click and drag when it turns into a hand, and I can see all the other options, and you're going to come on down to what's called create. And once create is activated, I just want to start and clicking on one of the points. Now, do not click when the symbol looks like this. It'll create an odd polygon out in the middle of nowhere. You want to make sure you're clicking directly on the point what the points that you want to build, or vertices that you want to build as poly. So we're going to close this up as a poly. So I'm going to left click, and I'm going to go counterclockwise. And I'm going to click until that symbol turns into this. That means dead on that vertex. Left click, left click, left click, and then click on the original vertex, and it will close that as a polygon. Hit the Q key or left click and select your select object tool, and that will get you out of there, and that will lock you out. So now you're still in polygon mode. I can just go on around and see my new polygon that I just developed. All right. Move around in perspective view to see what we got. Oh yeah, we're looking like, it looks like an eye. All right, I'm going to go to vertex, and I'm going to left click and drag and select these three. I'll hold control, left click and drag, and select all the inner vertices. Hit the move tool, and I'll zoom in here, and I'm just going to move them back so the eye has a little bit of an inward bevel here, like so. Perfect. All right, go to edge. Select all the outer edges. So I'm going to select the first one, hold control. And you can have just Q or the select object tool activated when you do this. You don't have to have the move, rotate, and scale tools. Select all the outside edges. I'll hit the move tool. I can move these edges and modify them further if I want. Right about there is where it's about how much an eye socket kind of closes in. And now, let's see, I'm going to go to editable poly real quick. I'm going to go to hierarchy, effect pivot point, hit centered objects. I'm centered based off this. Then I'm going to unlock that. I'm just going to move this so it kind of matches up better with my eye. And then I'll go back into modify panel, back to edge, and notice how my edges are still selected. Works pretty nice. Go to scale. I'm going to hold shift and left click and drag, and it's going to build these all out as polys. Very nice, very easy. Once I release my click and take my finger off shift, I got a whole nother line of polys to work with here. That is perfect. All right, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to hold shift, left click and drag. I'm going to build another line. That looks good. When I get something I like, that looks good. Now, those edges still selected, I'll go to the move tool. Move it back, and now we're already building our facial design. Now, when we 3D model, we are modeling half the face, half the body, because at the end, when we get done modeling it, we mirror its copy. So we're not modeling both sides of the face, just half. So what we want to do is at this point in time, I'm going to go to vertex. I'm going to start modifying and shaping this eye so it fits the proportions. What I can do is go to editable poly. If it's too big, that's normal. Go to the scale tool. It'll scale down that whole poly to what I need. That looks a lot better. I can use the move tool or W. Move it how I need it. That looks good. Yeah, that's about what we want for the nose. We'll be building a nose here pretty soon. And that will set us up right. Notice that the pivot point. All right, looks good. Go to vertex. I can modify it further as needed. Move some of these vertices around, just individual, front view. Perfect. Little poly. Perfect. So we have the eyes set up, and if you want, you can actually go out to this website. I don't know if you ever heard of this one. It's the Joan of Arc tutorial. It's at 3dtotal.com. Now, this is probably one of the most popular. It's been around for a very long time, tutorials across the internet. If you locate it, it should look like this, and you can actually come on down, and you'll notice that you can even go to the specific areas of this model. So if you want to use my video, go for it. If you're more of like a read and comprehend student or learner, and you do better through just screen captured visuals, this is going to be even better tutorial for you to actually use and relate to. But you can come in, if I go to the head right now, it's 1 to 6 pages long. Notice it's already bringing me to this additional web page, and I can scroll down and you can see what we just did is build the eye, and this is probably one of the most accurate and definitely best visual breakdown construction of the facial process or the design. We're going to pretty much follow along with a lot of process that are found in here. I found out this is actually one of the best tutorials, and I've actually introduced it to all my students as well throughout my teaching. So back to the 3ds Max. Let's go ahead and build, which is next in line. What I like to do is build the mouth. We're going to create a rectangle, and we're going to use that edge. We're just going to start modeling and building the pattern of those poly surfaces across his lip area, his lips here. So I'm going to go to create, center primitives, box. I can hit F3 at any time. We can see shaded solid here, what that looks like. I'm just going to left click, drag, create a box. Somewhere located on my in my top view, just build a very small box. Hit W and move this thing on up. So let's get it into position. Right click, convert that to a editable poly. You can do it at any viewport. Open up, go to polygon, left click, drag, select the parts that we don't need, which is the back, the back of that box. Hit Z. Anything select, I can zoom right on it. Hit Z. Make sure that's the side or sides that we don't want. Sure is. That way all polys are facing the same direction. Delete. Voila. Little poly. Let's move it into position. Let's go to vertex. Move that up, and like so. Now, if you don't like the box, I like personally using boxes because it, like I said, it just kind of keeps me active with getting more familiar and more advanced with the 3D interface. I can go to editable poly real quick. If you don't like boxes, you can use planes. So create standard primitive plane. Left click, drag. Much easier. I'll right click on it, convert the symbol polygon, vertex. It does the exact same thing. I like teaching my students using the box because, again, it's great practice to create it, delete the side you don't want, and you can get more familiar as you advance yourself in the 3D atmosphere. So it just gets you more experience moving around here and understanding which viewport to active to kind of reach where you need to be. That's why I teach that box, but again, the plane works the same. So I'm going to go to editable poly, create a plane, move it forward. Like I said, I recommend, again, create little boxes, delete the back side that you don't need to get yourself very familiarized with the 3D atmosphere. And once you feel pretty comfortable, then you can start taking advantage of planes, okay? I really recommend you do that. Okay, got my plane. Vertex, edge, hold shift, left click and drag to that middle origin. Hit 1, and go to vertex. And now we're 3D modeling. I'm just going to build this lip. Hit 2, that's my edge. Hold shift, left click. Do this all through the move tool. Hit 1, vertex, left click and drag, move. Hit 2, that's edge. Hold shift, left click, drag. Perfect. Hit 1, vertex, and we got the top part of our lip. I'm going to hit 2. Select this and select this edge, hold shift, left click, drag. Perfect. I can hit E, that rotates if I want. Use the outer control. Always use the outer control ring. Hit 1, vertex. Hit 2, edge, hold shift. Make sure my segments are lining up. Rotate. Move, hold shift. Perfect, hold shift. And the front part of our lips are complete. I've had a lot of practice doing this. If you don't get it the first time, select editable poly, select it, hit delete, and start over. Okay? But I've done this many, many times. I can show you these tricks, but again, practice makes perfect. And if you don't get it the first time, it's okay. If you model the first face and you don't like it, Don't be scared to do it again if you want to. But remember, you only get better. I've just done this so many times now, guys. Experience shows. Okay, I go to edge, select the outer edges, hold control, and I can select multiple if you remember. Using the scale tool, like we did with the eye, I'm going to hold shift, left click and drag. I'm going to build out my lips. Now, once I build them out, hit Z, I can zoom in here, so what's going on. Use the move tool to move them back. Because our lips come out, right? Last time I checked, they did. All right, now, because the middle of the lips are here, we don't want these vertices floating way outside, so I'm going to go to Vertex, select them, make sure that my segments are somewhat aligned, like they need to be. I can move the vertices around if I want to make it a little more accurate with my facial sculpt modeling here. My facial modeling. A bit better. Okay. Now I'm going to use one of my favorite tools. I'm going to go to Editable Poly. I'm going to use the middle mouse wheel just and roll it down to kind of scroll through my properties here on the Editable Poly. And I can go to one of my favorite tools, and that's called the Cut tool. So I'm going to click Cut. And the way this tool works, if I move in here, and I can, even though it's activated, I can still push down the middle mouse wheel to pan around, get it better, and use the middle mouse wheel to move, to zoom in and zoom out. I'm going to start with the tool when the symbol looks like this. If you do not, it's going to make a cut in the middle of the polygon face, and that's not what we want, so I'm going to actually start on the edge. Left click to start. I'm going to come across, make sure I cut across my poly, left click, and you notice that that cut's made. Those vertices are now made on those segments. And I'm going to actually click here, come down the middle. Left click on the segments. Make sure your symbol again looks like this. It's going to create a vertex. You do not want the symbol looking like this because it will cut in the middle of the poly. That's incorrect. You want to cut on the segments on the edges. Left click, and when it's completed, right click. And now those are made. I'm immediately going to hit Q on the keyboard, and that will lock me out of the cut property. If you do not hit Q, you cannot get out. Hit 1 or go to Vertex and activate your vertices, select, and use W again to move them around how you need. Make it a little more accurate. And what I'm really going to do is I'm going to actually left click, drag, and then hold control and select all the vertices on the inside of these lips. And when they're all selected, I'm going to use my front view, use that control handle with the move tool and move them in. So it looks like my lips actually shaped correctly. Left click outside, just deselect and go to Editable Poly in time. And voila. And now our lips are created. Face is coming along. Okay, so now we're actually going to build the nose section. And the way we do that is we actually have to fill in the area between the eye and the top of the lips. So to do that, first thing I'm going to do is we'll select the eye region, and underneath Editable Poly, I'm going to scroll on down until I find Attach. And I'm going to click Attach, and then this will allow me to click another object, being the lips. The lips are now an individual object right now, but by clicking on the lips in any of my viewports, it's going to unite them together as one. I can deselect Attach and deactivate it, and now if I go into the edge property, and in my right view here, just simply grab this edge right here. I'm going to hold Shift, bring it out. I'm going to bring this edge down so it matches with that edge right there on the lips. I'm going to grab this edge, hold Shift, bring it on down so it matches up with that edge on that part of the top of the lips. So I'm going to zoom on in here. Go to Vertex Mode. Get my vertices lined up accordingly. select these two meeting vertices, and now we're actually going to use the collapse property, which is under vertex. You have to have vertex select in order to do collapse, and if I click collapse, it unites them together as one vertex. I'll do these three here, collapse, and these two vertices, collapse, and voila, we're done. If I look at the perspective view, it looks something like this. So now we're ready to start actually cutting and shaping out the nose. I'm going to go to Edit Poly, and I'm going to just deselect, and then this way I can go Alt-W and go into full screen here, just take a look at it a little bit better. And I'll reselect my object. I'll go to, under Edit Poly, I'm going to come on down and go back to Cut. And now I'm going to be able to cut these segments through. So I'm going to start on the very edge, left click, come across, left click on the edge, left click on it. Make sure, again, it looks like this when you left click. And then I'm going to right click outside to complete that cut. Come through again. Voila, go to Vertex. Hit Q to deactivate the cut mode. Hold Control. Remember, you can select multiple vertices. Go back to Edit Poly. Deselect, go Alt-W to come out. Take a look at it here. Back in perspective view, go Alt-W. We'll take a look at it. Select it. Back to vertices. Okay. Back to Edit Poly. Alt-W. And do the frontal view here. I'm going to go select front, go Alt-W, go into expert mode. Select it. Vertex. Hit W to move. We can kind of build this area out now. Become the nose. Now I'm seeing this mouth area. It looks like the bottom part of the lip is here, so I'm going to select these vertices and just move them all in union. Select this vertex. Let's bring the nose up. With Edit Poly, deselect so I can Alt-W. See what's going on here. Now you start kind of bouncing in a perspective view and using it at times. That's what I'm doing right now. As long as you're following along those using those handles. Don't just move your vertex, use the handles. Start shaping this nose a little bit now. All right, perfect. So I'll select it from my front view. Take a look here. Do these two edges at once. Hold Shift, the move tool. Let's build them out. Let's go 1. Hit the 1. Number 1 on your keyboard. Collapse those two vertices. You have to be under Vertex, remember, to collapse. Make sure you're under the right mode. Collapse is a great feature to take advantage of. Okay. Probably looks like this is where my eye is. That's exactly what I want. Let's do an edge. Hold Shift. I'll build this part up now. Vertex mode. Whoops. Now, as this progresses, you might run into the issue of where you select the plane. What you can do is right-click on the plane and go to Object Properties, or any plane. And in here I'm going to basically uncheck Show Frozen in Gray. Before I do that, let me show you what happens. If I right click on and I go to what's called Freeze Selection, it will freeze it, but when it freezes it in gray, so it takes away the texture on it. I'm going to just pretty much right click again and say Unfreeze All. Select this plane, I'm going to right click at Object Properties, turn off Show Frozen in Gray, click OK. So when I right click again, I can go back to Freeze Selection and voila. So now I cannot click the plane, I can only click this object, which is what I'm using the model with, and that plane locks with the texture on it. Makes it pretty easy. Okay. Match up these two vertices here. As you progress and get more experience with modeling, you just start kind of figuring out. But these are, just the basic processes to kind of follow to get you jump started to understand the process of 3D modeling, facial construction, and then eventually we'll get into character development, the whole body here in a second. So, all right, that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and do the bottom of the mouth now. Let's do the chin area. So I'm going to basically, in the front view, I'm going to grab these edges here, underneath the lip. Oh, it looks like, there we go. Go to Vertex. Make sure your mouth and your areas are matching up in both viewports as much as possible. So I'm going to just move this back down. That's why it's slightly up. There we go. Like that more. All right, go to edge. Like I say, there's going to be times when it's a little bit off, but make sure it's not off too much, okay? Just going to bring these edges down. Now I'm going to go out. Shape the chin with them. I'm going to come down one. I'll come under one. Follow this along. There we go. Now it should look like something like this. I just use those three edges, just held shift to kind of keep facial modeling back in here. Just take the vertex, and after I create it, I'm just going to simply make sure they're kind of create some curvature. You have to modify to your liking. Go for it. Looks pretty good. All right. Well, let's go this way. So now we're actually going to start building the forehead. We want to build that bottom part because eventually we're going to build the forehead. Then we're going to come off the side. And then we're going to understand how to kind of start filling these areas in right here. So I'm going to go to edge. Do these two edges. Hold shift. Edges. Notice I'm reshaping the vertices as I progress here. Alright, that's going to be the top of the forehead. Perfect. Let's go to my frontal. That does not look like a forehead, so you have to you have to go back to your frontal design and make sure areas are lining up accordingly. Looks good. More segments can be added later, guys, with the cut tool now that we've learned that. So, okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm just trying to get the basic structure developed here. All right, so now, forehead. Let's go ahead. We're going to come over now and grab these edges. Again, you can kind of follow the similar process I'm doing. These areas at, at a time. I'm going to collapse these two vertices here after I've extruded those edges out. Perfect. Back to those edges. Kind of follow the contour of the face here. One, these two vertices. I'm going to hold Shift, bring this out. Now this actually has to start going along the side of the face. So I'm going to go to Editable Poly, go Alt W, bounce out. I'm going to come over here to Perspective View and make sure, say, this is coming straight out. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to grab those edges. I'm going to move them back in this view. This is where this is going to start wrapping around this way. So now I'm just going to use those two edges. Don't worry about the ear. Okay, perfect. Go to Vertex. I'm going to grab these middle. And now notice these are going straight. We do not want that. So in my top view, I'm just going to simply move them out. Yeah. Perfect. And now we're going to start getting into the process. We're going to come across the skull here, the cranium, right? Got these 4. And using my profile view, just going to hold Shift, click and drag, and it's going to extrude these edges. Now as I create these segments, I'm going to make sure my segments are lining up with the segments I just created here. Let's get the top. And also rotate. Use that outer controller. Remember when you're rotating, you can rotate these edges. So hold Shift, left click drag. Okay. Top view, I'm going to come on in. Got the edges in my top view. Let's select those end edges. I know that's the end of those polys coming this way. And I'll hold Alt and so I can deselect those, and I'll just hit the Move tool, hold Shift, and I will smooth these edges. It's going to line up there. Now I'm going to hold Shift, click and drag, and make sure that these are lined up accordingly. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so now we take these edges right here on the back. And using the front view, to hold Shift, click and drag, we're going to move these down. Now when I create these, I want to make sure that my edges are lining up. This one would actually be the top of those eyebrows. Hold Shift, bring it down. It's going to be above the eye socket. Hold Shift, click and drag, and then this will come down, and this will be the bottom. It's going to line up perfectly. So if I go to Vertex, and I look in Perspective View here, over Alt W to get between your views. Select these two vertices. I can use just the regular Select Object tool if I want. So left click and drag, select them. And under Vertex, remember we can use Collapse. I'm going to bring them together. And when you're doing this, if you're left clicking and dragging, make sure you're not selecting vertices on the other side. So to be safe, I click directly on them, hold Control, and left click and select the other, then a collapse. Just to be safe. Because when you're working on collapsing vertices, you might not think you selected them by left clicking and dragging on the other side. It's very possible you have, so you got to be very careful. So at times like this, I just click right on the vertex. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the bottom of the neck area. So you go to Edge. Select these edges here at the bottom. Remember, you can hold Control and select multiple things when you left click at one time. Move tool, hold Shift, left click and drag. Bring them out. Bring this down, go E, click E, or click the rotate tool and just rotate your edges so they line up better. Now move. Hold Shift and bring those out. Alright, let's do the back of the neck area, and then all the rest will just be fill-in. Grab those edges on the back. We go ahead and hide this plane as well. I'm going to right click on it, say hide selection. Makes it easier. Edges. Okay. And using the frontal view, hold Shift with the move tool, left click drag. Let's go ahead and build the neck on the back. When I get to here, I'm going to hit the rotate tool or E on your keyboard and just rotate those to kind of match them out. All right. Let's fill in the sides. So I've got 1, 2, 3 here. I got 1, 2, 3 right here. Move tool, hold Shift. Bring them on up. Make sure your segments are matching up accordingly. Perfect. Let's grab these middle vertices here. And in my side view, we know we want our cranium to come out a little bit, right? Perfect. Okay. Now let's do the bottom. Select these edges here. Right click, go unhide all. Bring back what we had. And now I'm going to vertex. I'm going to actually make sure these vertices are aligning with the contour of the face before I do anything else. There we go. That's better. Hold Shift, left click drag with the move tool, come on down, make sure your edges are lined up accordingly. Vertex mode. Let's go ahead and bring these out a little bit maybe. Looks good. Okay. Shape modify a little bit. Perfect. Okay. All right, we're going to bring this edge out where the nose is, and this is going to allow us to wrap around, and all we got to do is really focus on is filling in. So let's look at our top view here. This is where perspective is going to have to come in and take control here pretty soon. I'm going to make sure that these are smoothed out up top as well. Now, another thing that really helps is I showed you the F3, which was wireframe and shaded. F4 actually, if you hit F4, it turns on the wireframe over the shaded. So that's pretty beneficial as well. So you can see where those polygon edges actually are. So if you'd like to do the F4 option in addition to F3, you're welcome to. Keep in mind that you can go to my LinkedIn page at linkedin.com if you would like to link up with me and have me as a resource and a reference in your list of contacts. You can send me a message at my LinkedIn, and that will reach out to my Yahoo email, hence my Gmail accounts, and I can always be there to help you. Thank you for watching, and look forward to working with you.